Today I come to this video to send you two messages that seem contradictory at first, but you will see that they are not so much. Initially, to burst the bubble, literally, like an individual who arrives at one of these extravagant parties and abruptly stops the music of artificial intelligence for building information modeling on the path of the easy, and secondly, for the purpose of preventing the spread of panic, with this notion that AI is going to eliminate our jobs as architects or engineers. These days, since artificial intelligence emerged, I'm getting tired of seeing videos everywhere about this artificial intelligence for BIM, this artificial intelligence for making vendors, this one for prompts, this one for search, and this one for whatever. It is good to know that these new technologies exist, but that is as far as the value they provide me goes. Why? Well, because currently we are focusing on the way I write this sentence and it returns this as the output. And listen, when Google was born, I'm certain there were courses on how to use Google, and there still exist. I'm going to look for it, in fact. Listen, if in 2022 there can be up-to-date current videos on how to use Google Chrome and courses, then why not? To have AI videos, let me introduce it to you right here. This is its function. Very good. Now, in this last year, there have emerged, and there will emerge more, I am clear, as I give AI courses. You simply need to visit LinkedIn to comprehend the vast amount of information available there. Utilizing an AI in the present day is as straightforward as having the knowledge of how to write. You input something in your native language, and the AI will provide you with a result or outcome. So, it's entertaining to watch. Considering that there are people who watch videos of how the grass grows, I understand that yes, it can be for many of us. From there to the belief that someone can make a livelihood out of that, I think there is a substantial difference. Have we ever imagined someone making a living out of that? Yes, be cautious. Every time a new technology emerges, we always anticipate something incredible happening, or it solving our problems, etc., etc. I'll provide an example. During the era when horses were utilized for transportation in cities, issues arose because of the massive accumulation of horse manure in the streets. In reality, the houses you observe raised, for instance in urban areas such as London or New York, are not raised by coincidence, but hey, it was believed that horse manure actually reached significant heights during that period of time. If there were still many horses, living in the city would be impossible due to the large number of them. A technology emerged that resolved that issue when the automobile was created. What's up? Each time a new tech emerges, there's real fear, panic, and then people who believe they'll win the gold and the more with them. And in the case of AI, it is no different. In the case of AI, some numbers have come up in the past few months because this is becoming quicker and quicker, known as prompt engineers or individuals who are committed to discovering the sentence that enhances AI's effectiveness. That might seem to make sense, and now you will understand why I come to burst that bubble today. And that's the reason why Google has done it themselves, which I want to demonstrate to you. There are already studies that make assertions, and it is observable that AI will be superior in generating prompts compared to humans. Why? Well, simply because those databases that generate AI already have information about which response has worked best for humans. Based on the response that has been most helpful to the human, they can find the question that linked them. So AI, in this case, whether it is generated or based on natural language, operates or functions in the following manner or way. You introduce something into natural language, there is an intermediate processing, and then you get a result, whether it be renders, whether it be text, etc., etc. What is going to happen? That product engineer, that process engineer who is around here and from which so many courses are coming out on how to introduce magic phrases into our AIs, is going to be replaced by the AI itself refining itself.
So purchasing a course to see which is the best magic phrase to use artificial intelligence is a complete waste of time nowadays. This will become obsolete not in years, but in months. And this is exactly why.
Right now I refuse all these things that have come out of how to make the best prompt, etc., etc. It will become outdated at the same speed that many topics in the technology industry have become outdated. In the topic of BIM methodologies, where are these technologies being used? mainly today for rendering purposes. A multitude of artificial intelligences have emerged that are capable of creating images even from sketches, and a multitude of artificial intelligences have emerged that, for example, have the ability to assist us in improving programming by automating BIM methodologies. In this sense, as a component of 3D Specialist, what we have achieved is indicative of the direction in which I genuinely believe that the advancements with AI are ultimately going to lead. And I will explain it to you later, because first I am going to explain how I think this methodology is going to affect the architect and the engineer in their day-to-day activities. So how will this affect? Will he take our job, as people say? Or will there be nothing to model? Let's take a look. In this day and age, not only with artificial intelligence, but also with many repetitive tasks, they can already be programmed simply using Dynamo, Python, Grasshopper, and all of those available options. Nevertheless, the count of companies utilizing this tool for programming purposes is extremely limited. That is why at 3D Specialist we train architects and engineers to be able to program, because this is a real market need. AI will go through the same experience, with a settling time comparable to that of other tools, and that is exactly what both AI and automation tools will generate. They are definitely going to generate the disappearance of numerous repetitive jobs. That is to say, if your job as an architect or engineer is to spend hours filling out an Excel spreadsheet, then I guarantee you that job position will be lost. Now, if your occupation as an architect or engineer is connected to thinking, surely not. All mechanical work is replaceable. What is happening? Jobs in the middle with average pay are disappearing, and the individuals who will be entering data will receive lower wages, while those individuals who have the ability to work with automation will receive higher wages. AI automation's programming, they won't take your job. The one who will take it away is the architect or engineer who knows how to use these tools. Now, I also inform you that utilizing AI tools for tasks that I have been perusing in these recent days, such as automated modeling, is presently a complicated undertaking, my dear friends. And why do I tell you that for now it's complicated? Because I challenge you to find a company consistent in generating documentation. In order to develop an AI, a vast database is required. Who currently holds such a database in their possession? Autodesk. And he still hasn't taken it out. Can we be the future creators of those artificial intelligences? Yes. To be those future creators of those AIs, first we will have to know how to program. Architect and engineer, learn programming on this channel. You have a playlist to start. Join now. I'll tell you now how I believe AI will be used, and in fact, how I am currently using it today. Because considering the future seems to me to be of little use at a time when technology is constantly changing and evolving. If we start speculating now about the future, we're like those who calculated how far horse manure would reach in cities. We know how that ended. So I am going to demonstrate, because I had this pending, because I made a video when I started using ChatGPT, not about how to input the prompts, but about how that AI really responded, where we could trust, where we couldn't trust, to what extent we could trust, and the level of confidence we could have in its responses, which was a crucial aspect of using the AI model. Because this is truly, as an expert, that's where I'm going, where you'll be able to contribute to the market. You're capable of evaluating it. Do not use AI and see what it puts in a little box. No. But being able to look at it critically, to complement it, to correct it if it is wrong, to use it to save time, and as an expert to be able to add more value. In my observation, I perceive that as a tool, it possesses significant potential for the future. I intend to present you with illustrations of my recent utilization, primarily focusing on Revit automation with Python. Additionally, I will discuss where I believe ChatGPT-4 is currently demonstrating accuracy and where it is still encountering limitations, thus highlighting areas for improvement, things I have utilized AI for and you have the ability to utilize it and it will be effective for you. For instance, for extremely basic tasks in automation using Dynamo and Python, incredibly simple at the web level, meaning that AI here is essentially equivalent to knowing how to search on Google, since it won't provide any unique information compared to what Google is already telling you. But what sets you apart from Google, in this case, is that while in Google you probably have to find images and transcribe them, here the AI writes for you. So, for example, when I ask you for 3 different ways to select with the Revit API in Python 3 in Dynamo, because I'm looking for how it responds to see what examples it gives us, there, yes, there it really helps you to know how to select that type of things. The negative aspect is that it provides you with illustrations. The most basic illustrations you will come across on the internet. Normally examples focused on architecture, and also if you are learning, starting to program, maybe sometimes it will simplify or will look for a very effective way to write that you may not understand if you are starting, or it is more difficult to understand. But for really simple selection things, we have been able to use it. Number 2, one functionality that I have liked a lot is how easy artificial intelligence currently translates between different programming languages or programming systems. For example, in Autodesk Revit, what they have done in recent times is to switch from using IronPython 2.7, which is a .NET language, to CPython, which is the industry standard. In that conversion, well, if you had a lot of code written in IronPython 2.7, now you're going to have to do extra work to convert it. Actually, the fact is that AI is assisting me greatly in saving numerous hours of writing in a prompt manner. It also performs well in translation, or I have been utilizing it to translate things that I had written in C# in order to transfer them to Python. So the documentation for Autodesk, for instance, is written in C#. When converting it to Python, the conversion process works quite well overall, although there are still some topics that it gets stuck on. One common error I have observed is that instead of completing all the required information when I enter or request something, the system assumes that I will provide it from outside the node it uses. It states, I will assume that you will enter the elements in the int0 as family instances, which is not necessary to assume. I would prefer the selection to be made directly from within the artificial intelligence. However, the system still has certain issues, such as not fully understanding the context, even when it is specified. What is this? Well, tell him that I'm working on Dynamo, I'm working on PyRevit, or I'm working on a macros console. Okay? There is still a bit of a mess there, but it is a good translator between languages. Another aspect in which I have been extensively utilizing ChatGPT-4 is for performing text manipulation from Python. It has been a valuable tool for me in my Python projects. Why? Because this thing with text strings, regular expressions is very similar to memorizing Excel formulas or Revit formulas. All that stuff about memorization and a large database of how things are written with regular expressions, which is a specific module of Python for working with texts, well, separate things for the BIM execution plan with the low wand. Put a period, convert me if they are 5 letters into 3 to comply with the BIM execution plan. This does it. Incredibly good when using this. Kind of specific modules that are standard in Python programming language. That is, everything that is standard in Python, working with lists, etc., etc. ChatGPT-4 is going to do very well because they are already feeding the users a lot. However, all things about the Revit API are still in a phase with interns who are not yet fully experienced, and books are involved in the process. Watch out, now I'm saying drunk intern with books. In my first video there, drove AXA GPT-3, he said drunk intern. Yes, it improved, now you have books, but we still can't trust much. For instance, I possessed a method of writing flatten list or how to flatten a list in an extremely straightforward manner. I desired to accomplish it in a more straightforward manner in order for it to be comprehensible to the user, a little less advanced than in this. If I mentioned to him, hey, could you please tell me how to write this in a different way using a for loop? And he was able to write it immediately. This is the type of handling operations that I am referring to and seeking assistance with. There is a very effective way to handle lists, maximizing their effectiveness, where recently I observed the abilities I possess have also been discovered in more complex instances of geometry management. It has also been capable of assisting me. But here I do find that I have had to make corrections many times until now. Stayed with something that truly worked. In the end, you teach one. There is little to no need to rely solely on AI because it does not always work as you expect. However, on the other hand, I believe that utilizing AI can greatly save you a significant amount of time when it comes to writing. In the topics of geometry and encounters between geometry, etc., etc. What if I believe it will be beneficial? What if I believe it will bring value to the market? What if it doesn't just remain in the mere prompt, but it enables the generation of more value? What we have done is in the own specialization training of Dynamo. In the realm of Python Online, we have incorporated the management of this AI as an essential tool for our operations. In other words, where we used to assume we would search on Google and in the documentation, now we assume we will ask certain things to AI. But hey, within a context and a useful exercise to automate architecture and engineering tasks for efficiency. If you want to check out this training, I'll leave it here for you. And of course, you can subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest information.